Hello SRMites, welcome to Say What with SRM AP. This is your host Jayanth Ramakrishnan with our special guest Dr. Faizaan Reza, a person who has published a research paper on multilayer perceptron, a kind of artificial neural network which he used in desalination of water treatment. So welcome Faizaan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jayanth. Thank you, SRM community, for having me here.
So Faizaan, let's start with a very basic question. Where did it all start? Simple.
Okay. It's a very good question you asked me out there. It all started with my childhood because many of my family members are into this field. Many of them are into this education field and they have many papers on their names. I was actually very much inspired with all of that thing because since a young age you find your cousins or your dad or someone who has papers on their names and everything. So I'd say that was my inspiration since my childhood days, and I wanted to be the youngest one in the family to publish a paper. I'd say it was more of luck and a little bit of my hard work which actually fetched me a Q1 index paper, I'd say.
I'd never call this a luck. It's all your hard work and determination. And I guess you have got a very pretty strong family background in that too in research field. Okay, so the next question is dedicated mostly from the first years. What do they start like if a person we are pondering, especially in first years, is take my batch. While we were pondering what to do and what field should we pursue, how did you ended up publishing a research paper? What was how did it happen in the university point of view?
Correction, Jayant, we are like from the same batch here.
Yeah, but still I was pondering. Yeah.
Yeah, no issues at all. So it's like I'd say for younger people who are like younger than me or like who are new to this research field should obviously go by themselves and explore in this field, because until and unless they explore by themselves, they are not gonna find out what they will be doing in the future or like what will be their loving thing in this tech field. I'd say for the younger ones out there, I'd say my best suggestion would be, explore as much as you can and check out if things work in your way. And if it is working in your way, then what's stopping you from working on it?
That's another level of motivation for all the freshers out there. Okay, so what made you explore the water field? There are many fields of research for artificial intelligence, but what made you focus specially on water?
Okay, that's a very good question, Jayant, again. So it's like there are many tech geeks out there who are like very much knowledgeable than I am right now in the core AIML or tech field. But I was little different from the start. I actually wanted to, implement or like bridge AI with sustainability so that it could be used for a better cause tomorrow, was the motto which I had in my mind. And obviously I ended up doing that. I actually bridged AI with sustainability in by using it for like water desalination of brackish water and everything.
Okay, so coming to the AI part, what exactly is MLP and why did you use it for the desalination part? What was your main goal in using it?
Okay, for the people out there to understanding it in layman terms, I'll make it more short and simple. MLP is nothing but a multi-layer perceptron, a kind of artificial neural network. It has first layers, the starting layers, and hidden layers in it, which actually have nodes in them. And neural networks are something that are used for like storing data and everything. They are like very good enough to store data in them. We can say it is a subset of machine learning, I'd say. It comes under the deep learning and neural network part of the machine learning, and it's like pretty advanced than machine learning as the way it is right now. And the reason why we used multi-layer perceptron in water treatment was because of the data which we got during the research time was non-linear data. And obviously you know that how non-linear data is. To get a hold over it, we actually need to use something that is like pretty advanced. So we actually ended up which had more accuracy in it. So we went up with ANNs, artificial neural networks, for this.
So was it trained or you had to train it with your own data?
Obviously, I mean, like, we got data from South Korea. I mean, like, my professor had connections with South Korea, and he got me data from there. And It was actually done in collaboration with South Korean universities. So what we did was like we actually wanted to, get a comparative study on how models are working and how ANNs and multi-layer perceptron would be working against all of this. So we went with the most accurate one out there, which is like MLP.
Okay, so since you're saying that MLP is accurate in terms of water, what are the future opportunities you see in the usage of MLP in further research fields of water?
I wouldn't point out saying that particularly MLP, but in terms of neural networks, I see a very huge potential coming out there because it's already being used in the federated learning part. I mean, like it's used in medical imaging, and it's now being used for like sustainability, for like for all of this sustainability goals and everything. And on top of that, many of the people who are like curious enough are like working on this.
Okay, so the when it comes to curiousness, it also talks about exploration. So what while pursuing the research itself, did you explore any other aspect? Being a person, I mean, a fresher, a student, our mind tends to explore a lot more things, even though we are stuck to one job. That's a basic human tendency. Did it happen to you?
Obviously, Jayant, it happens to everyone, and eventually it happened to me as well because I was someone in my first year who didn't even know C language properly.
Yeah,
And
same with me.
yeah, so everyone had trouble C language. The thing is, no one uses it now. So I actually explored it. I went out of my comfort zone, by trying to explore all of this stuff. Started with Python, then went on with like libraries, then continued with machine learning, then deep learning, then neural networks, and now finally I'm like working on federated learning. Is the thing I found out.
So, for a person who's trying to pursue artificial intelligence and machine learning, Python being a very basic and it's also one of the widely used programming languages in terms of AI. So, apart from that, is there any language which students can explore, or is it just Python? And what roadmap do you suggest them?
From the prior existing knowledge which I had in my mind, I went I went up learning machine learning and neural networks in Python because it's like a very vast language which is like also being used in databases and all of this, and it can also be used in backend and all of this stuff. You yourself know about this because you are like backend legend over here in this SRM campus. And on top of that, I'd say JavaScript is also being used for neural networks these days, but it's like hard for people to understand because JavaScript itself requires a lot of attention to, and Python being a very simple understanding language. I mean, like it's more like English. So you can just write up code and it gives you some output out there.
That's a pretty great advice, and I'd like to take that backend legend personally into my account. Okay, so moving ahead, how do you think the implication of AI, ML, and such neural networks help in addressing the problems of global water scarcity?
The way we tried to address it was a state of art thing, I'd say, because no one had tried it before. And we were actually the first ones out there to run a comparative study across all the models on how they are giving accurate output on the nonlinear data which we had in our hands. And in this case, we had to deal with like water rejection, flux, turbidity, their pH values, and everything. I mean, like a lot of parameters and everything out there. So, yeah, I mean, like I went off with MLP.
That's great. So, in your field of research,
Hmm.
what more ideas do you have, and what are your future interests?
My future interests are, I'm still in my exploring phase. Until I'm like done with my second year, I'll use that time well enough to explore each and every field out there because I do have some ideas that I'd really like to work on, which are in the field of like environment sustainability, and particularly I have the soft corner for designing as well, which I had to leave because I had no option. You know, when you are from such a educationist kind of family or like have-
I understand
yeah,
the
yeah, you
pressure.
understand the pressure, right?
So, yeah, and marching ahead, one final question. Job. research, or higher studies?
I'd say I'd take up job. If I am not getting a job, then we'll figure it out.
How about business?
How about business? Yeah, I do have some ideas, some really good ideas in my mind for, making it into a startup. It's like I actually planned on like working on a startup, and then having a startup on my own would be a dream coming true. And I guess that would be on AI and sustainability again, the startup itself.
That's such a great vision, Faizan. We are extremely glad to have you. Thanks for coming in and joining our show. Thank you, SRM, for the opportunity. So, guys, it's me and Faizan signing off. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.